What's up, everyone? Good Monday morning. Welcome back to another edition of the Quick Bricks NBA DFS podcast, episode number 24. Hope you guys are enjoying your Monday as well. As always, hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Had football all weekend. You know, you got to love this time of year whenever you get playoff football in NFL. You have the bowl games starting in college football, and, of course, you have NBA still going. Lots of game, lots of action. Been on a nice little run. Let's hope we can continue to keep it going. Let's go ahead and jump right in. We got an 8-game slate tonight. It's pretty decent. Got little spots we like. Let's go ahead and jump right into Milwaukee at Detroit. We don't have a line on this game right now. Middleton and Brogdon are still questionable. Not real sure if they're going to play or not. Obviously, if they do not play, Giannis is going to be chalk again. We know that. He went off last game. And, I like to say I pegged it, but, you know, I was on Giannis before all the news came out and those guys sat. I really still think that I honestly believe that he probably would have still smashed in that game had they even played. So either way, you know, Giannis is definitely going to be chalk again if they are out. Another one that I like in this game, either way, if they sit or if they play, is Bledsoe again at 7.6. Put up 44 last game against them with those guys in. He had a really, really good game. I think, again, this game sets up a good for him again. 7.6K, I'm fine with that. I don't really think I'll be much on Middleton or Brogdon even if they do play. You know, Detroit has Bullock back, and he played 30 minutes last game, and he's a pretty dang decent defender. So that kind of takes me off Brogdon. I'm not really sure how they're doing with Stanley Johnson or not in the middle, starting at the 3. They have done that here recently, and that kind of takes me a little off Middleton because he's probably one of their better defenders as well. So other than that, yeah, Bledsoe, Giannis, if they don't play, Pat Connaughton at 3.7, if they don't play, he picked up quite a few minutes last game, starting at the 3 whenever they were out. So if he happens to be that way again at 3.7, he just, you know, has some decent value. For the Detroit side, obviously Drummond at 9.3. He's had over 51 in his last 2 at home. Griffin at 9K, last 3 at home, 46, 49, and 55. And Bullock at 3.9, 30 minutes in his last game in the return there. Don't hate him if you want to go cheap. Other than that, that's kind of where I'm looking at in this game. I'm not just too overly thrilled with this one. I think there's some better games to pick from, so let's move right on. That's kind of where I'm at in Milwaukee and Detroit. Let's go to Phoenix at the Knicks. 218 on the total. Knicks come in as a 1.5-point home favorite. Absolutely love Cantor in this spot at 6.7K, 38 or more in his last 3 or 5 games. He's been getting zero ownership, and he's still been playing well. Had a few dud games in there in between, but, you know, that's what happens whenever, you know, the Fizdale's rotations or whatever he's doing. But at Cantor at 6.7, I think it's fantastic play on the slate tonight. We know Phoenix gives up pretty good amounts of points to the center spot, so Cantor at 6.7, absolutely give me all the Cantor. Knox at 5.7, played over 33 minutes in his last 4. Ever since he started, he's been playing plenty of minutes. I guess they're wanting to develop him. Go ahead and get him going is absolutely fine. 5.7, still too cheap. Manuel Mudiay, again, another guy that's just not getting any ownership here lately. His price did go up. It was 5.5 last game, and now it's 6.2. I'm still fine with that. Phoenix still can't defend guards, and Mudiay is the clear-cut point guard, even with Burke coming back. Burke was back last game. I don't hate Burke. I'm just not, I'm not real sure if he's going to see. He saw like 13 minutes last game, so in his return. So maybe he gets a little extra bump. I don't know. But Mudiay at 6.2, I'm still fine with. For Phoenix, Booker at 8.5, came back, played 36 minutes, put up 46 fantasy points. I think he's fine. No problem there, right? So Booker at 8.5, sure. We know, obviously, the Knicks are not as good guarding the wing either, or the point guard or the wing. So Booker at 8.5, I'm fine with. Oubre is hopefully going to make his debut tonight at 4K. I think they'll throw Oubre right out there. You know, Ariza's gone now. He was starting. I don't know if they continue to start Josh Jackson or if they let, you know, Oubre was a great bench piece for the Wizards, and now he's going to be, you know, probably another great bench piece for the Suns. Something that they probably direly need. So Oubre at 4K, I'm totally fine with. If he does make his debut, I think that's fairly cheap. Rashawn Holmes, I think they're probably going to need tonight at 4K. I think it's a decent punt in tournaments for sure. I think he should see probably 20, 25 minutes, hopefully, in between that range. So I'm fine with that. That's kind of where I'm looking at for Phoenix and New York Knicks. That's not too overly thrilled. And it's not that I'm not overly thrilled. It's just that I don't really, I like a few pieces in that game, but I think Vonleh's maybe decent. Apologies, have to keep taking a few breaks and dealing with the kids. They're home as well. My son's birthday was yesterday. That's why I couldn't really play any NBA last night. I had his party, so today I kind of decided to stay home and play with him. So anyway, Phoenix and New York, that's kind of where I'm at. Vonleh, I think, is fine if you want to play him. For Phoenix, Melton has been playing pretty well, but he's kind of taking a back seat now that Booker's back. Crawford lost 26 minutes last game. I'm not really kind of sure how they're going to work this rotation. I don't want to jump right on Crawford because we know he's scoring dependent. He's kind of a one-trick pony, and I hate playing those kind of guys, so I'll probably look elsewhere for my punts. Other than that, that's kind of where I'm looking at. Bridges at the, starting at the 2 still. I don't know about that one. I think I can go elsewhere. So that's kind of where I'm at. Let's move on. Utah at Houston. We got Houston -5 here, 213 on the total. Utah really hasn't been good lately. I'm not really sure why this spread is so low because Houston's been playing lights out lately. So kind of iffy. Makes me kind of like Utah a little bit. Maybe thinks that's a nice contrarian plays tonight. Donovan Mitchell at 6'8", sure. I think Favors at 5.4 is nice. He's been getting more minutes, been playing over Crowder quite a bit. So Gobert at 7.4 is cheaper than he usually is. He was ejected playing Houston the last game at Utah. So I think Gobert is going to go way overlooked tonight, and maybe that's a little bit of revenge. Who knows? For a cheapy punt, you can look at Kyle Korver. I think they're going to need his three-point shooting tonight to stay afloat. So Kyle Korver at 3.1, I'm totally fine with if you feel like punting that one. Harden, obviously, at 10.9. He did not have a very good game against Utah last game, and usually he does love playing Utah. He has really good career numbers versus Utah, so Harden at 10.9. The guy's been in fuego lately. I mean, he's just been killing it. Capella at 7.8. He's, his prices came back down from, it was close to 9K like a week and a half ago, and now it's back down to 7.8. I'm totally fine with that. Over 42 in his last game. Over 42 fantasy points in his last 2, sorry. So Capella, absolutely. I think this game, although the total is not very high, there's not really a whole lot of high total games on the board tonight, so it's not exactly a paced-up game, but Utah has been playing with a little more pace lately, so that's kind of where I'm at. I think Gerald Green maybe at 3.5K. He's been seeing 20-plus minutes is fine punt as well if you want to go there. That's kind of where I'm looking at in Utah and Houston. I'm not just a huge fan of CP3. He really hasn't been doing much lately, but I'm sure he probably will tonight. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Sacramento at Minnesota, 232 on this total, -8 for Minnesota. This is probably the game that you're going to want to stack up a little bit. Has a lot of good pieces in it. Towns at 10K, put up over 47 in his last 3 games. Buddy Hield has put up over 31 in his last 3 or 5 road games. He's been playing well. Jeff Teague at 6.1. I don't know why I had Buddy Hield on the Minnesota side, but you know what I mean. Teague at 6-1. I think it's totally fine. Rob Cove, I think, is totally fine. I'm not really sure how Cove's injuries and everything. He's still questionable, it seems, but I think he's coming back. So even in that event, Saric at 4.9, he's played 31 or more minutes in his last 3. Dario Saric's been playing. I know last game was definitely due to Taj Gibson sitting out. Taj is supposed to be back tonight. If Cove comes back tonight, I'm not sure that Saric's going to get the 31 minutes, but I still think he probably should see decent minutes. I don't know if he's worth the 4.9, though. I'm going to have to kind of wait and see on that one, see who's in, see who's not. Obviously, Towns is the big one here. He's been playing pretty well. For Sacramento, Bogdan at 5.8. He put up 36.3 last game here, 2 or 3 games ago against Minnesota. Bajelica here, revenge game number 2. Hope you guys jumped on him last game that he played Minnesota. He put up 41. He's now put up over 40 in 2 of his last 3 as well. So Bajelica, definitely be looking at him. I think Kufos at 3.2 is an interesting tournament play tonight. I could really see Cauley Stein getting in some foul trouble down low against KAT, and then Kufos hopefully get some extended run. So Kufos at 3.2. I think I'll throw him in a tournament. But that's kind of where I'm looking at in Sacramento and Minnesota. Move right on to Chicago at OKC, where this, Russ is probably going to be so chalked tonight it's not even funny. He should absolutely dominate this team. And they're minus 13 home favorite, so it's kind of tough. I'll let everybody else play Russ, and I'll play some other guys. PG 13 9.5, same boat. You're paying. Hopefully, you're paying for basically 3/4 is what I'm gonna guess. Chicago is not good. They're going to be without Levine again. I know that they've gotten some guys back, but they're still not going to. I don't think they're going to be able to keep pace with OKC tonight. Adams at 6'9", obviously is a great play if you think they'll stay away or stay in. Schroeder at 5.6, I believe, should get some extra run. At 5.6, I think that's totally fine. Even Abrines, however you want to say his fucking name, at 3K. We know that Chicago is pretty bad against the wing and allows a lot of three-pointers. So Alex Abrines at 3K I think is a decent punt. For Chicago, Chris Dunn at 6.2. Again, I think he's a little overpriced for this game. I think Justin Holiday is probably the best value on the Chicago team at 5'8". I think PG will be more worried about Mark Aikman, and Holiday is going to be the one that kind of gets left out in the wind, but I think that's going to be good for him. He's been playing 30-plus minutes in blowouts even. So Holiday at 5'8", I think, is probably the best value of this game. Robin Lopez at 3.1 has played 28 minutes in his last two. He's getting more run here lately, and they're probably definitely going to need his size tonight against OKC. So Rob Lowe is definitely worth the tournament play, I think, if you're feeling that. And that's kind of where I'm at in Chicago at OKC. Moving right on to Philadelphia at San Antonio. No line on this game right now. I'm not real sure. Nobody's out. Nobody's questionable. I guess I thought it was the Butler, but Butler came back. Maybe they're waiting to see if he's going to play tonight. If he does play, I think he's totally fine at 7.4. I think that's pretty cheap on him. Simmons at 8.9. I'm a pretty big fan of over 51 in his last 3 or 5 games. This guy's been balling out. So Simmons, I'm absolutely fine with. Wilson Chandler at 3.7, I think, is very fair. San Antonio has been known to give up some decent points to the power forward spot with LMA switching over to the center. So Chandler at 3.7, I think, is totally fine. Another punt you can look at is TJ McConnell at 3.8, 24-plus minutes in his last 4, over 22 fantasy points in 3 of those 4. I think McConnell is definitely worth punting tonight. We know that San Antonio is not very good against the point guard spot. So that's why I like Simmons. That's why I like McConnell. I still think Butler is too cheap at 7.4 if he plays. Wilson Chandler is a nice value at 3.7. For San Antonio, I like DDR at 8.1. I can't beat a dead horse. I know he's let me down here lately, but at 8K, the last time he dropped down to 8K, he put up like a 45, 50-point fantasy game. So, yeah, I like DeMar. I'll probably play a little bit. Marco Bellinelli at 3.8, over 24 in his last 2 games. He's been playing pretty well. I've been using him a little bit here and there, so at 3.8, I think he's definitely worth the tournament play. I'm not on LMA. Honestly, I mean, Rudy Gay is likely going to get the Butler treatment if he's in, so I'm not a big fan of that either. If Butler doesn't play, I will probably play some more Rudy Gay, or I probably will play Rudy Gay, but at the point right now, I don't think so. So that's kind of where I'm at in Philadelphia and San Antonio. Memphis at Golden State, 210 on the total, minus 11 for Golden State. This is an interesting game. You got to really pace. You got a pace up spot here for Memphis if they can stay in. Memphis games on the road are totally different than Memphis games at home. We know that. We've seen it. I'm still pretty surprised by the total. I think this game probably ends up more in the 220s. Obviously, Curry at 9.9 is absolutely in play. Dre at 6.7 I think is cheap. Clay at 6.4 is definitely in play. I think a cheap one is Jonas Jerebko at 3.6. He's been getting good run. For Memphis, I think you got to play Conley at 7.9. I think that's just way too cheap for him in a pace-up spot. Gasol at 7.6 is another one. I think, in a pace-up spot here at 7.6, he's too cheap in that center spot. He's one of the main focal points of this offense with Conley. I think a Conley-Gasol stack is definitely in line for tonight. JaMychal Green at 4.6 continues to be a good value. Javon Carter at 3.1 played 22 minutes, put up 18.3 fantasy points. If Kyle Anderson is out again, I think they move down Garrett Temple to the 3, and I think that opens up more run for a guard at the 2. And I'm guessing that's what happened with Javon Carter. So I would definitely be monitoring that status and checking to see if Slow-Mo is going to play tonight. Kyle Anderson, if he plays, he's questionable. I would make sure and see. That could shake up that lineup a little bit again, so I'll be watching for that. So, my favorite game of the night, Portland at LAC. We love the late-night hammers, boys. We love them. I'm all over Damon Nurkic. Sorry. Dame let me down last game. I'm going right back to him tonight. He's questionable. He missed last night due to personal reasons. I guarantee you he's going to come back tonight, and he's going to be ready to ball. And if you've been following along, you know that I love to fade the Clippers point guard and center spot. So Nurkic at 7.5, pile it in. Jam him in, guys. Nurkic is probably one of my favorite plays tonight. I don't see how he cannot have a pretty good night. Dame at 8.8, again, I'm fine with. I think Stauskas at 3.1 is a decent tournament punt. Even Curry at 3.0, if for some reason Dame does not happen to make the trip or does not happen to play tonight. I don't know why he wouldn't, but Seth Curry at 3.0 has played 18, 19 minutes in his last 2. Obviously, we'd get more minutes. So, something to look for, something to monitor. For the Clippers, I think you look at Gallo at 6.6. Guy's been balling out lately. Montrezl Harrell had some good run in his last game. He's 5.7. I think he put up 34 fantasy points last game. I'm totally fine with Harrell. Avery Bradley at 3.7 has now put up over 24 fantasy points in his last 2 games. So, that's kind of where I'm at on that game. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm playing. I really like that game. I think you can stack it up quite nicely. So definitely get back on Nurk, definitely get back on Dame and get on Nurk. Like that stack. I think there's interesting spots in the Memphis game, Golden State. Obviously Sacramento and Minnesota has a lot of fantasy appeal. I think that Utah contrarian stack I think is something you should definitely look into as well. Harden obviously is probably one of the main plays. Again, I decently like the Phoenix and the New York Knicks game. I think there's a lot of good plays. Cantor, for sure. Get on some Cantor. And that's kind of that's it. That wraps up 24th edition of the Quick Bricks NBA DFS podcast. Enjoy your Monday.